I have been playing a lot of Once Human. As a matter of fact, I can easily say that I'm probably one of the most addicted players to the game. I have so many hours into Once Human, I'm almost positive that it could probably rival the amount of hours that I put into Ark or Rust, which is pretty impressive considering that I played Ark for years. I'm putting more hours into Once Human in a day than I ever have in Ark in a actual day. As a matter of fact, the game just came out and I already have over 100 hours. That is just on the Steam. Not to mention that whenever I played it in the beta phase, which you can find in some of my older live streams, that I have easily over 300 or over 400 hours into the game. I love this game. I love the game so much that I've recommended it to a lot of my friends, and a lot of my friends have been playing it. I have so much love for the game. The open world is absolutely fantastic. The boss fights and cinematics and just how the fights are generated overall is absolutely spectacular. You can even choose the difficulty of how easy and how difficult you want the bosses to be. I think it's absolutely so much content in Once Human that no matter how mad people get at me, I will constantly recommend this game. However, I will say that this game has a few problems. One of the problems being that you probably won't be able to play with your friends. If you played when the game first released and your friends came a few weeks late or maybe even a few days late, the chances of them being able to play with you is pretty much slim to none, as the servers fill up incredibly fast. And the really messed up part about it is that even if the servers have a low population, your friends still won't be able to join because the max amount of players that were actually able to join is already filled. So even if a person comes in, plays, and then says, hey, I don't want to play the game anymore, or they join another server, well, their character is still there. There's no wipe on the character. The character doesn't get deleted or anything like that. It's not based on how many people are in a server at one time. It's based on a total amount of players in a server. So if your friends come in late, well, it's pretty much tough titty for them. And that has happened over like the past couple of weeks. I've tried to play with some of my friends like Chama and like Acha, and unfortunately they're not able to join me because I'm in server 27 and they're already in server 60 whatever. So the chances of them gaming with me is slim to none. The other issue with Once Human is probably the one the community is complaining about the most, and that is the 6-week wipe. For those who don't know, Once Human has this thing to where after every 6 weeks, the game does a complete wipe. All of your characters are gone, your progress are gone, everything is pretty much gone. Now, there is a way to save your progress. I will give you a little slimmer of hope, and it's called Eternal Land. If you have not done the Eternal Land mission, well, considering that they brought up something called 6-week wipes, I guess it now makes it extremely important for you to actually do the Eternal Land missions. I was going to ignore it until I found out about the 6-week wipe. Now, granted, I do understand why they're doing a 6-week wipe, and I do think it does present some kind of opportunity for me to game with some of my friends, especially some of the ones who I wasn't able to play with within the first couple of weeks. But by that same token, it's too fast. 6 weeks is not really a lot of time to do everything in the game and then have to start over. It's way too short. Even your average Fortnite season is a couple of months. Your average Overwatch season is a month plus, 2 months plus. There's not a single game where it is limited to 6 weeks and then we start over. Even Ark Survival Evolved or games like Rust, servers don't wipe for another three months, and some servers don't wipe for more than a year. There's a lot of time for you to grind, do side missions, do regular missions, story missions, to grind blueprints, to grind weapons, to grind ammo. You have plenty of time to do it. Now imagine if you have an actual 12-hour shift job and you're only able to play during the weekends. Well, if you're only able to play 2 or 3 days out of the grand total of the week, and you're only able to put in maybe 3 or 4 hours, maybe even let's say 1 hour. Unfortunately, Once Human is not for you. This is not a game that appeals to players that have very little time on their hands and want to jump into the game. It's literally impossible. I don't even think you're able to get through the story mode with that little time, because unfortunately, even with the story mode, you have to upgrade your armor, you have to upgrade your weapons, and you can't just do that right off the gate. You have to grind for it. Even for things like recipes and foods that give you certain boosts whenever you're doing certain fights or fighting against certain creatures, whether it be other metahumans, other players, or the deviants, no matter what NPCs that you're fighting, it doesn't really matter. Foods give you different kinds of buff. Well, some of those foods requires you to get something called deviated corn or deviated beets or some kind of deviated fruits or vegetables. And those are some of the most rarest foods to get within the game. And for you to get those, you can only get them through one or two options: explore the map or grow them yourselves. And unfortunately, for you to explore the map, for you to come across this specific deviated vegetable or fruit that you need within the game, can take up 2 hours. It's complete RNG for you to come across it. Now imagine if you decide to grow it yourself. Well, one, you have to find the seeds for the specific thing you need. Let's say if it's something like cucumbers, where you can't get cucumbers out in the wild. The only way you can get it is by buying it from a store. Well, the only way you can buy it from one of the stores is if you finish the progress throughout the game. So whatever recipe that needs deviated cucumbers or anything, or deviated tomatoes or anything like that, well, the only way to obtain it is by progressing in the story, which means more grinding. And if you want to calibrate your weapons, if you want to obtain certain deviants, more grinding, more fighting, more jumping into silos. It's so much work, and that amount of work is not doable with a few hours in the week in a 6-week wipe. It is genuinely not possible. I think if you are like me and you want to play this game, I 100% recommend it. But unfortunately, if you have very little time on your hand and you can't really put the amount of hours into the game, I cannot recommend the game to you, unless you just want to jump in for some content, stream with your friends and then uninstall the game. Then that's completely fine. I do recommend that. But if you're gonna jump into the game and take it seriously, like other players, you only have a few hours within the week, I can't recommend it. It's not made for players to play casually. It's made for players who want that grind, that survival grind, who can put in that amount of hours. And I don't know. I think 6-week wipe is way too short. I think the way the servers are set up is not optimized for all players. It is not viable to play with your friends unless they all start an account on the exact same day. It's just not viable. It's one of those things where honestly, it kind of decreases the quality of the game for the players, the quality of life for a lot of the players. And Once Human has so much potential. I can't tell you how much potential this game has and how much I'm really looking forward to it, especially grinding with the boys. But unfortunately, as long as it's going to continue doing this 6-week wipe, I probably will only be playing the game for a certain amount of time until I get bored. And then once that happens, I'm jumping into Call of Duty Black Ops 6. And I'm probably never picking up Once Human again for a very long time, until they optimize the quality of life for more players. Now again, I love the game. I cannot stress how much I love the game. It is by far my favorite survival game out of all the survival games I have ever played. But it has some issues that need to be resolved. So I just wanted to kind of go on this little rant and just talk about some of the problems that I see with Once Human. If you have anything that you've seen, or if you have, if you love the game, if you hate the game, by all means, please comment down below. I've done a few live streams. I'm a sniper, so my sniper build in Once Human is not top peak yet, but it is pretty insane the amount of damage that I'm able to do. So I'm looking forward to seeing you guys, and stay tuned for the next video. My name is Robert J. Fox, and fuck off.